Cocoa Puffs. You're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Let's go to the phone right now and bring in Steve Aschburner. He is the senior writer for NBA.com. Let's talk some NBA playoffs, and let's talk a little bit about the Nuggets. Steve, thanks for joining the show, and let's go with the NBA playoffs first. Is this Cavs-Bulls series about as good and as close as you've seen in a long, long time? I'm really getting into it.
Well, hi, guys. In terms of competition, it's great. It's been some very unartful basketball at times. We've seen some horrendous shooting. Last night LeBron James had a remarkable game and near perfection, but it hasn't always been that pretty. But yeah, the competition level's been great. There've been subplots. It has been a very representative and actually a stellar postseason series.
There's a pregnant pause there, Steve.
Because Woody's eating, and I'm having trouble with my earpiece.
Steve, you've been around.
Well, I want some special K with red berries, please.
You wondered what kind of show you were coming on.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you, my question is that we find that the conference finals in the NFL are more interesting than the Super Bowl. I think when you brought up the subplots and the plots in these four series, when you got John Wall out against Atlanta, and you've got the Clippers and the Rockets and what they're doing and what they did again last night. And we talked about this briefly the other day. Injuries have such an effect in the NBA playoffs, and we're seeing those injury situations raise their ugly heads in every series that happens. Would you agree that I've been covering the NBA and the ABA for 35, 40 years, and I don't remember series this early being this powerful?
Yeah, in fact, there were people that were grumpy because the Clippers played the Spurs in the first round, and oh my goodness, that should be a conference finals. That's not right happening. And I thought, well, this is great. At least we get to see them play each other. There was no assurance that we would see those teams matched up otherwise. So what if it comes a couple of weeks early? It's really just a matter of when, and I thought it was fun to see that. I agree with you. I mean, I'm greedy. I think part of it is I like more games, and right now we're getting 2 games a night. When this round's over, we'll get 1 game a night, and then you get to the finals, and you don't have games every night. I've always liked Saturday of the Final Four better than Monday, for instance. But I do agree that the storylines, when you're within conference, when you're facing rivals, when there's a history, and teams that either don't like each other very much, or they've butted heads. The Chicago team, I'm convinced, has a mental block against LeBron James in terms of getting past him. They've got more talent for the first time ever than James's team, and yet, they let him off the hook in Game 4, and they're going to forever rue that day. Just that sort of stuff. The Rockets and the Clippers, and just there's various matchups that you get in conference. I do think that it makes for sort of zestier series.
Well, who's going to win all of these? Because they're all sore. They're still up in the air until tonight.
Yeah, and is Memphis a real threat to knock out the odds-on favorite to win the NBA title, Golden State? How do you see all these series ending up, Steve?
Yeah, I still think Golden State is going to be in the finals in the Western Conference. They've had the best year. They aren't just the pretty fun to watch offensive juggernaut anymore. They play both ends of the floor. They've got a very versatile and deep roster. I think they're gonna emerge from that field. I know people like the Clippers, and the bench situation with them becomes less of an Achilles, in playoff basketball, because you don't need to go as deep. I think that probably Chris Paul advancing to the next round, which I see happening, will take some of the onus and pressure, but also some of the urgency off of him. I've picked Cleveland to be in the finals since before the season, and I didn't see anything, even with Kevin Love's injury, to cause me to reassess that. I think that, like I said, Chicago just doesn't have it in them to get past the Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, maybe the Cleveland Cavaliers, but not LeBron James. And Atlanta to me is a little bit, not quite as off the rails, but a little bit of what Indiana was last year, where as fine as they were in the regular season, it's something sort of, I don't know, faded away or is missing right now, and they're getting a little bit of it back. But Washington, let's face it, they're missing their best player. I don't think John Wall's going to come back and really make any difference. I think, if they threw him out there, it would be limited minutes. It might not even be a successful stint. And, I don't see them beating Atlanta. I think LeBron's going to be back in the finals for a fifth straight year. And I think Golden State, ultimately will win the NBA championship.
That would be something to see, LeBron against Golden State. Who has been, two more questions, Steve, one of the premier writers about basketball and all subjects throughout his career. First of all, the question I have is, we have the usual suspects. You mentioned LeBron, Steph Curry, Harden, Blake Griffin, Paul. Who is a guy who's jumped out at you during the playoffs and you went, wow, look at the way he's playing?
That's interesting. I've been largely mired in the East, so I don't know that you can call Blake Griffin a usual suspect. I mean, he's got the star power from what he's been in regular seasons and in all-star games, and let's not forget commercials, but he has been, really, this postseason, arguably the best player in the postseason. LeBron's giving him a run for that right now because of the load he's carrying for the Cavaliers. But I think Blake Griffin has taken a major step up, and I would expect that we'll see Blake Griffin regarded a lot higher coming back next season.
Hey, Steve, the Nuggets have a head coach opening. I'll throw some of the names at you, although you probably know them. Mike D'Antoni, Alvin Gentry, Mike
Brooks.
Malone, Scotty Brooks. Who do you see as a good fit here in Denver, and what might you be hearing?
Well, if they pull the plug, are they committed to the idea that it won't be Melvin Hunt?
I don't think Melvin Hunt's going to get this job. I think they're looking for somebody who has more of a track record.
Star power. I don't see Melvin Hunt. He was voted best assistant coach by the general managers a couple of years ago. He did a nice job of putting this team, a total mess, dumpster fire, back together. But I think they're looking for somebody with more star power, more experience as a head coach, like everybody is probably.
Well, if you're saying star power, then somebody like Scott Brooks or Monty Williams, despite pretty good track records, they don't bring with star power either. So that's a consideration. D'Antoni, I guess I haven't been following it close enough, but he does have the Denver history. It's just a matter of, do they have the personnel that he would be content with to play his style of basketball? That became a problem with the Lakers because he alienated Pau Gasol. He never got, what he needed to get out of Dwight Howard. And he is such a specific fit as a coach. You have to start sort of tearing down your roster sometimes to fit him. So, I don't know about that one either. Don't jump the gun, I guess I would say, because you might have Tom Thibodeau on the market. I'm not sure that the Nuggets would be in love with his defensive-oriented style, but he is a big name, and certainly he's accomplished more than most of the guys that are out there on the market right now.
Well, defense is good, Steve, but Thibodeau better know how to run because that's what they're going to do here. Steve, we really appreciate your time, and we love reading you. Do you have a Twitter handle? Are you on Twitter?
Yeah, it's Ash NBA. It's ASCH NBA.
All right, great. And, of course, you can read Steve at NBA.com. Steve Aschburner, really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Good talking with you, gentlemen.
All righty. And that segment's sponsored by the Lake Street Tavern. 3 bars under one roof, 18,000 square feet, and 60 HD TVs. Many of them have the NBA on them. Blake Street Tavern is located just a couple of blocks north of Coors Field. It is named one of Denver's best sports bars. In fact, it's named Denver's best sports bar, not one of, the best, for 3 years in a row by Westward.